Mr. Art Modell, your assignment, whether or not you choose to accept it, is to try and beat the cleverly named Three Rivers Jinx. Among the many items working to ensure that your Browns never chalk up a win in this particular stadium is one Terry Bradshaw, quarterback, strong arm type. Another formidable obstacle is a birthday boy named Mean Joe Green, who's inviting his friends from the Steel Curtain to the party. They're currently 3-0, and along with Cleveland are atop the AFC Central Division. Oh yes, they're hoping to bring but one present to the party. It seems, Mr. Modell, that your team is loose and happy thanks to your wise decision to install Sam Rutigliano as Cleveland's new head coach. It's been 15 years since the Browns started the season with 3 straight wins, so this man has already accomplished quite a bit. But then again, so has this man, Coach Chuck Noll, who's got his team looking once more like the Super Bowl champions they were in '74 and '75. So it stands to reason that today's looming battle will be a major stepping stone for the winner. But just as importantly, it will determine whether or not the Cleveland Browns' 3 wins over relatively weak opposition can hold up in the face of the strong Pittsburgh Steelers as we present the NFL Game of the Week. The Three Rivers Jinx struck early with a touch of humor that then became a compound problem for quarterback Brian Sipe. The pratfall was embarrassing enough, but the interception by safety Donnie Shell was downright depressing for Cleveland's first play of the game effort. It looked like Terry Bradshaw was ready to cash the error in for 7 points as he hit Lynn Swann for 24 yards. Then on a very wide arcing roll out to the right, Bradshaw hit number 20 Rocky Bleier at the 2. However, the Cleveland defense held fast, forcing Pittsburgh to trade a touchdown for a field goal try. Now it was up to Roy Gerela, the Grand Duke of the Gorillas, to salvage something. It was evident from all the last-minute preparations that the Steelers' special team was caught by surprise, where they had surely expected the offense to be able to punch it in from the 2. But in reality, what became a Pittsburgh 3-point lead was also a moral victory for the staunchly tough Cleveland defense. On their second possession, the Browns took it right to the enemy. Sipe to Cleo Miller was good for 12 yards on the pass and another 15 on a Pittsburgh roughness penalty away from the tackle. All of Cleveland's success was coming on passing plays as they moved swiftly and surely upfield. It was only when they tried to run that the Browns found the Steel Curtain as impenetrable as a Camp David summit meeting. And so it was back to the Highland roots. The Steelers secondary had things covered on this play, so Sipe scrambled for time and a receiver. He finally came up with number 33, Reggie Rucker, who was all alone to complete what appeared to be a 61-yard scoring play. Appearances can be deceiving. A repeat shows that Rucker was open because Donnie Shell fell while trying to cover him. It looked like an easy 6. But in a repeat from our end zone camera, note the line of scrimmage as the 39. Unfortunately for the Browns, all of Sipe's rambling and scrambling took him a few inches past the line of scrimmage before he released the ball. Cleveland's fortunes continued to sag. When Sipes' injured wrist made handling the snap difficult, the drive died, and rookie Johnny Evans came in to punt. While there was some casual discussion as to whether the punt went into the end zone or not, none of it mattered, for a Steeler penalty gave the Browns new life. It was a chance quickly squandered as Sipes' passes were batted here, there, and everywhere by the intrepid Steeler defense. This one came close to being intercepted by safety Mike Wagner, but the miss really didn't matter because the Browns' drive had been effectively stopped. Now it was time for the game to get down to the basics, to reach a level of intensity and vigor that until now had lain quietly beneath the surface like a basking shark. The message was as clear as a ringing bell. In the second quarter, the fight was to be to the physical. And now in this stepped-up state of siege, both the field and the air just above it were filled with hurtling shapes and flying bodies. A 9-yard gain on an end around by Ozzie Newsome, number 82, put the Browns in scoring position at the Steeler 21. Then Sipe wasted no time going up top, where he had enjoyed his only worthwhile success so far. The pass was good for 17 yards and yet another apparent touchdown. A repeat shows a play fake by Sipe, a nick-of-time release, and a perfect pass to number 26, Tom Sullivan. Unfortunately for the Browns, as pretty as it was nullified by a holding penalty, and the Three Rivers Jinx was moving right along. Facing a 3rd and 19 situation, Sipe once again went for the end zone, and once again some negative force cast its spell, as another potential score bounced harmlessly off the shoulder pads of tight end Gary Parris, number 84. The Browns settled for a field goal to tie the score at 3. Then in some sort of a mix-up, the Jinx hit the Steelers. On the following kickoff, number 30 Larry Anderson was whacked and fumbled. Ron Bolden, number 28, recovered for Cleveland, and the Browns were back in business. Once again, they were knocking on the end zone door. Once again, they couldn't get an answer. Number 85, Dave Logan, could have had a hero's homecoming had he held on to this one. From this angle, it is obvious that the catch, though not easy, was possible. But then it was only the 4th touchdown they lost, and they did get another field goal to go ahead 6-3, which was the score at the end of the half. Thus far, the battle had been a defensive one with two excellent and evenly matched forces, making life miserable for each other's offenses. There had been plenty of bruises suffered, and at times the field had been strewn with players too tired, too sore, or too reluctant to get up. Perhaps like Dwight White, there were others who on this particular day thought that 30 minutes was plenty long enough for any football game. What do you think, Dwight? Looking forward to the second half? It was back to the drawing board for both teams as the second half of this defensive struggle began. As the Browns discovered, what looks good on the chalkboard doesn't always look good on the field. Super effort by one player can defeat a whole bunch of X's and O's. And L.C. Greenwood almost single-handedly dismantled Cleveland's initial drive with 2 sacks and good pressure that forced a third down incompletion. On Greenwood's second sack, Dwight White, number 78, was called for roughing the passer. But 3 plays later, Greenwood and John Banaszak created a third down sight sandwich that finished Cleveland's drive. Last season, the Steel Curtain had lost some of its hardness, particularly in the defensive line, where it appeared Joe Green and Greenwood were on the downhill side of their careers. But the Curtain has come back in 1978. And those fan-arousing defensive stands have returned. The Browns have developed an excellent defense, too. Pittsburgh's next possession was stopped on a perfect play by Tom Darden, who moved over from his free safety spot to intercept Bradshaw's pass. Darden's interception gave Cleveland the ball near midfield, and after a 24-yard interference call, the Browns reached the Steeler 22 before the Curtain came down hard. Whipped into shape by their resident psych-up man, Jack Lambert, number 58, the Steelers' defense did not allow Cleveland any closer than 40 yards from their goal line for the rest of the game. If the Pittsburgh offense could get on track, they could rest assured the molten hot Steeler defense would make a lead stand up. Darden's interception had set up a field goal and a 9-3 Cleveland lead. When Pittsburgh went on offense, it went basic Franco Harris, who carried 5 straight times for 41 yards. With the Browns sufficiently ground conscious, Bradshaw began finding Lynn Swann, who would catch 6 passes in the game, 4 in the second half. The drive led to Roy Gerela's second field goal that made the score 9-6. And on the kickoff following his field goal, Gerela was literally a one-man gang. Noticing that the Browns' up men had been turning away from the ball, over-anxious to get into their blocking assignments, Gerela hit a squibbler, beat the ball downfield, and was waiting to recover his own onside kick when it traveled the required 10 yards. Pittsburgh would be unable to take immediate advantage of Gerela's great play, but it did begin a subtle shift in field position that would lead to a score. The Cleveland defense had actually been even stingier than Pittsburgh's to this point. And on this play, perfect coverage by Clarence Scott kept the Steelers out of the end zone again. Pittsburgh's punt from the Cleveland side of the 50 left the Browns in a hole on their own 8-yard line. Though they drove across midfield, the Browns simply had to run too many plays to do it. And given enough chances, the Steel Curtain will eventually fall. A safety blitz by Donnie Shell sniped Sipe, and Pittsburgh got the ball back with 6.5 minutes to go. Sipe was in a sack for the 5th time, while his counterpart, Terry Bradshaw, flew out of the pocket on the first play of a drive that led to the game-tying field goal. Gerela's third field goal matched the 3 by Don Cockcroft, and with the score now tied at 9, the game really heated up. In the last 2 minutes, 20 seconds, Cleveland would have 2 possessions. Pittsburgh won, with both teams having scoring opportunities. A great run back by rookie Larry Collins brought Cleveland out to the 38-yard line, and operating from excellent field position, Sipe was unafraid to put the ball in the air. Unfortunately for Cleveland, he was also unable to put the ball into his receiver's hands for a completion, and the Browns wound up punting from further away from Pittsburgh's goal than when they had started. But Cleveland soon had the ball again when Tom Darden intercepted his second pass of the game and fourth in 2 weeks. Cleveland now had the ball in Steeler territory, and with still over a minute to go, there was plenty of time to move into winning field goal range. But they could not do it, and so with 2 seconds to go, Sipe tried to put the first touchdown of the game on the board, and almost did, although it almost went up on the Pittsburgh side of the scoreboard. Sipe's prayer pass was intercepted in the end zone by Tony Dungy, who, with regulation time now all gone, elected to run it out, knowing that even if he fumbled, Cleveland would have to return it for a touchdown to win. There was little chance of that happening, and little chance of Dungy going all the way. But you know what? He almost did. If you've ever wondered why your favorite team doesn't try a bomb late in the half or at the end of the game, this play shows the folly of such strategy. Interceptions and fumbles cause a lot of confusion as offense becomes defense and vice versa. Dungy took advantage of this transitional time, and as the end zone camera shows on a repeat of the play, Dungy might have gone all the way had he not been caught from behind by Dave Logan, number 85. "65 yards later, Dungy was finally down, and the game tied at 9 entered overtime. Pittsburgh won the crucial coin toss, of course elected to receive, while on the sideline, Sipe hoped for a chance to get his hands on the ball again, and he almost did. On the kickoff that began the overtime period occurred the game's most crucial and controversial play. Rookie Larry Anderson fell over his own man, got up, and fumbled when hit by Gary Parris. Ricky Feaker recovered on the Steeler 25-yard line, but officials ruled Anderson down on the 21 where his knee had hit, and the argument was on. A replay shows that Anderson went down without being contacted by a member of the Browns kicking team and appears to have gotten up off his knee before being hit by Parris. Had his knee still been down, there would be no problem. But put yourself in the official's shoes, with an official's eye view from ground level, and you decide. It's a thankless task. The Steelers caught a break on the call. Had Cleveland gotten possession, they would have been in great shape on the Steeler 25. But instead, Pittsburgh kept possession, and although he had not become the GOAT, Anderson was beside himself with grief. Perhaps he, more than anyone, realized what happened on the play. The Steelers then put together a drive that reached the Cleveland 37. Needing about 10 or 15 yards to get into Jarella's range, Cleveland thought Pittsburgh would play safe, basic football. Instead, they were as unsafe and unbasic as could be. Benny Cunningham's 37-yard double reverse flea flicker touchdown gave Pittsburgh the game 15-9, 3 minutes 43 seconds into overtime, and kept Pittsburgh on top in the AFC Central Division with a perfect 4-0 record, while Cleveland absorbed its first loss in a battle of unbeatens. For the Browns, it was their 9th straight loss at Three Rivers Stadium. but it's the closest they've come. And despite the loss, they're still close to Pittsburgh, only one game behind in the race for the division crown. For Sam Rutigliano, his first loss as a head coach. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, only joy as they have recaptured the glory days when they were kings of the NFL.